By the way, we can talk when the videos are running now.
What?
We can talk when the videos are playing now.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting some messages sent out so we can try and get some extra.
Yes.
Whatchamacallit?
Participation. Who's McV?
I don't know.
Somebody that knows me. Welcome to Climbing the Pocket's Mock Draft Mondays. Who will the Vikings pick, and who's your favorite choice? Hey everybody, it's Dave here. Guess what? It's Mock Draft Mondays. And I've got the one, the only, Tyler Fornes, the real Forno, with me tonight as we do our third live mock draft. How you doing tonight, Tyler?
You know, it's been a really good day so far. Dave got my hair cut for the first time since July. Got some sushi, and I have been spending the rest of my day watching tape, and I am excited to talk some football.
Cool. Well, so am I. Shall we get this thing started?
Let's get rocking and rolling. I'm really excited, and today I think we should try and do a little bit different. I think, Dave, we should try and do this mock draft from the scope of what you and I would do to fix this football team.
Okay, sounds good. How many rounds?
4 rounds. 4 is going to kind of be that sweet spot. We're going to get a lot of content. We're going to be able to talk about a lot of different selections, and we're not going to be able to really overexpose ourselves with prospects that we really don't know very well at this point.
This is wonderful. There we go. It's going to drop. Okay, 4. Here we go. TDN's predictive big board.
Yes, sir.
And let's start. Hey there, Anthony. How you doing?
Poverty franchise. No, Anthony, I think you're thinking of the Lions. The Lions are the poverty franchise of the NFL.
Yeah. We got a whole bunch coming in.
Hey, what's up, Devin?
Anthony's obviously a Packers fan, and as you guys, Anthony, you know they lost yesterday. And you might lose your quarterback, but we'll see. We've got our first trade. Draft was paused.
So it looks like you gotta just restart the draft, and we should be good.
Yeah, start the draft. We got people going off the board. Trevor Lawrence went down that far? Wow.
Yeah, so one of the tough parts with the simulator like this, Dave, is it's all based on algorithms. You're gonna have like this guy is gonna be slotted here, but that doesn't mean in every single simulation he's gonna go where we know outside of some kind of like medical issue or legal issue that Trevor Lawrence is gonna be the number 1 overall pick. So the algorithm doesn't necessarily jive it at the time. So,
okay, our first trade offer, the Titans offering their round 1, the 22nd pick this year, their 3rd round choice at 85, and a 6th round choice for this pick.
Okay, what are the other offers we're looking at?
We can't go back and forth on this. Here we go.
There we go.
First one, the Raiders, their pick at 17 plus a 4th at 121.
Okay.
That's only a 3 drop back and pick up a 4th.
Yeah. And then we got another one, it looks like.
Yes, we do. And this one we have from the Ravens. Their first at 27, their 4th, their 6th, and a 2nd in 2022.
So I think we can look at this from two scopes. One, is there really a player on the board that we really like? Kind of based on how the board was shaping out as it was rolling. I didn't really notice that there's anybody like I desperately need this guy. And considering where the Vikings' needs are right now, 14 doesn't really feel like a sweet spot for them. And I guess the big question is, do you want a 3 and a 6 this year, or a 4 and a 6 this year and a 2 next year? Now that 2, Vikings have really hit gold in the second round. Eric Hendricks, Brian Mcneil, Dalvin Cook, Ezra Cleveland. They've done real damage in round 2. So I want to hear what you're thinking, Dave. What are you looking at with these trades? Do you
dropping
really
13 spots is a lot for where we know we need help. None of them brought us a second. The Raiders was only 3 picks in the 4th. The Titans was, do my math real quick, 6 picks and a 3rd and a 6th.
This one gives you a 4th and a 6th.
6 and a 2nd next year.
I think that's too hard to pass up. Those second-round picks are incredibly valuable.
And I'm agreeing with you. And if we go, like for me, the big round bellies first, both offensive and defensive line, it would be awful hard not to see quality guys at 27 that haven't already been taken off the board already. So let's go with accept this. And then Rick Spielman's happy. He's got another pick for next year.
Team trade down.
We've got Packers fan Anthony and Eric going at it in the remarks. Clifford's joined us. We've got another trade offer now that we're at the pick. Let's see. Broncos offering their 2nd, number 41, 4th, and a 7th for this pick. I'm going to say no. Unless we're going into the 20 picks this draft mode. Chargers, the 45th pick and a 3rd.
This one, I'm out on this one too. You're just moving too far down.
And the Eagles, their 2nd and then 2 5ths.
Yeah, that's not good enough either.
Okay. Decline. So,
all right.
We're on the board.
All right, so let's take a look at the available players right now. And let's kind of see what we're looking at. So Elijah Fair-Tucker, offensive lineman, USC, was a guard his first few years. And then this past season ended up playing left tackle and did a very good job. So he has that kind of positional flexibility that you're looking for. I know a guy that you liked a lot when we picked him in our first mock draft. Gregory Rousseau is still on the board. Alex Leatherwood is a guy that I think is going to have that kind of positional flexibility as well. He's the left tackle right now at Alabama, but he's not phenomenal in kind of short spaces. Not a great mover. So I think if you're taking him for what the Vikings want to do, you're probably going to want to play him at guard.
Right.
Terrace Marshall Jr. is on my list of players to watch tonight and tomorrow. I'm really excited to kind of see a lot of what his game's all about. He is a bigger bodied receiver. I think the Packers are really going to fall in love with Terrace Marshall Jr. He kind of fits everything that they want from a wide receiver. But one guy that I'm looking at, I really like the idea of Kadarius Toney right now. Toney, he's going to provide, and it feels a little lazy just because they did the same exact thing at the University of Florida. But Kadarius Toney is going to provide that spark that Percy Harvin did in 2009. The kind of gadgety type plays, the return game, and he's a much more physical player than Percy Harvin was. I think that would be fun to go with. Otherwise, Gregory Rousseau is going to fit a lot of the size and athletic traits that the Vikings will look for in an edge. I know Devin said Azeez Ojulari. Ojulari is 6'3", 240. He's not going to be like that 5 or 6 technique that Everson Griffin was, which is the prototype for what Mike Zimmer wants in his defensive ends. He wants
Yeah.
guys who are 4-3 guys who will play the run and rush the passer.
Yeah,
So,
but could he move to three?
oh
Three
no, he's
technique.
6'3", 240.
Okay.
He is Dave, kind of think Pittsburgh Steelers edge rusher, guy standing up, rushing off the edge. That's what he is, and he's really good at it. One name to keep an eye on. We're not going to take him here. Jalen Phillips, edge out of Miami.
Uh-huh.
Jalen Phillips is a dude. He's like 6'5", 260, and he has a lot of pass rush moves. He has incredible athleticism and strength. His biggest issue, though, right now, he only has 1 year production, and he has a lot of injury history after when he was at UCLA before he transferred to Miami. So there's a lot of interesting options here.
Where would you go?
Where would I go? It's tough. I think
We've done Rousseau before, so let's skip Rousseau.
All right, so if we're going to skip Rousseau, I think the guy that I'm going to want to go with is I'm going to want to go with the weapon. I'm going to want to go Kadarius Toney, wide receiver out of Florida. If we weren't skipping Rousseau, I think we would take Gregory Rousseau 10 times out of 10, just because of how insanely off the charts his athleticism is. 15.5 sacks as a redshirt freshman in 2019. Obviously, he opted out before the 2020 season, and he doesn't have a pass rush plan. He doesn't have any good hand usage. He just wins.
He just goes motor.
Yeah, It's scary. But yeah, I think if we're not taking Rousseau, then I think we should go Kadarius Toney.
Well, if we're fixing things, we need an edge.
We do, and he is the best one on the board, and it's not even close.
Is Toney, though, the best wide receiver? And how the Vikings going to look going wide receiver in the first round? We all want that 3 deep, but do they have the cojones to go wide receiver in the first round?
Oh no, they absolutely don't. They don't have the cojones to go wide receiver again. But it would be good. Just look at what the Chiefs are doing right now. They've got Patrick Mahomes and 5 backup offensive linemen. They paid all their money to Travis Kelce and to Tyreek Hill.
And those guys stepped up yesterday.
Absolutely. You just need capable offensive linemen above replacement level. So you replace guys like Dakota Dozier with average players, and you're going to be just fine. I'll let you make the pick, Dave, but I think we're going to be sitting good if we go Rousseau, if we go Toney. Rousseau. All right.
And which is a better value in this draft than we got him in that first one.
Yes, much better value. I keep seeing a lot of people talking about Gregory Rousseau as potentially being a player that could go like top 10. It's incredible what Rousseau has as far as potential, but he does need a lot of work, especially with how he uses his hands.
Clifford asked a good question. Do they have the coaching to use a number 3 wide receiver? And that is a good question. And we've got a trade offer. Our 2020 from hopefully the Super Bowl champs, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, offering their second, number 63, for our 3rd and 4th, one of our 4ths.
Okay, so with the trade we made earlier, we got a 4 and a 6 this year and a 2 next year. So essentially, we would be moving down 13 spots and giving up 78 to get a second-round pick this year and next year. Like, in a general scheme of things, I think that's good, but I would probably not make this trade because I don't think there's anybody on the board that I'm desperately in need of. And I think you're only making that trade if you be like, that's the guy who's going to get us over the hump. Right now, there's a lot of talent, and kind of that day 2 range, there's going to be a glut of it. A lot of guys who aren't necessarily going to be tenfold better, So I would want to hold.
Okay. Interesting. Now, does Spielman, though, do they want to make that splash of moving back up in?
I think if you're going to make that splash, you're going to make it on day one, and you're going to go into the top 10 and get a guy. You're going to get Caleb Farley. You're going to get a quarterback. You're going to get Kwity Paye. I just don't see them being that team that's going to make that move on day two.
Okay. Well, then let's decline this. And we get a trade offer. A third, again from Tampa. Their third, their fourth, and their fifth for our third and our fourth.
I'm going to say no to this. I think we're giving up too much draft capital for what we're going to be receiving in return.
I agree. Okay, it's our pick. Here's who we have on the board. We have some safeties. And we know we probably will need a safety, depending on free agency. Who knows? The Vikings may sign Harris again. We have Darius Stills, interior defensive line. We have Walker Little, who I'm sure is not little. At offensive tackle, Quincy Roach, Tyler Shelvin, Victor Jamuki J, something like that, Richard LeCount, and a Christo, more safeties. Interior defensive line, our first running back. Not that I want to take a running back here. Patrick Jones at edge, Diami Brown, wide receiver. More edge, more wide receivers, more anybody you see.
All right, so right now I'm going to eliminate Walker Little right off the bat. I just don't think that he's a good football player. He was one of those guys that was projected like, hey, this guy could be a round one tackle, and then he got hurt and just kind of stunk. So I'm going to completely ignore Walker Little's on the board right now. Jerome, you were right. The Vikings should really look at trading down to get some more additional picks, and we really did that. We got the 4th and 6th and a second next year, which next year, considering what this team has as far as a salary cap situation, having that at second is going to be really, really valuable. So right now, Javon Holland, Richie Grant, a couple of really good safeties, and then there's even more right behind him. Tyler Shelvin is the guy that I think we can look at as an interior guy. I'm not entirely sure, having not watched him yet, I'm not sure if he's going to fit more of that 3 technique or a nose tackle role, if he's going to be a little bit of a tweener. Richard LeCount, the second, we took him a couple weeks ago. After kind of looking at him and talking with one of my guys, he told me that LeCount is probably the worst tackling safety he's ever seen. So I don't think Zimmer's going to be a big fan of that.
Right.
So Devin makes a good point. Cisco is a ball hawking safety, and I think the Vikings could use that. I don't think that's going to be a priority for Mike Zimmer. Zimmer's never prioritized turnovers.
Right.
He's prioritized making smart plays.
Yes, denying the ball.
Absolutely. Deny the ball, don't catch it. To him, they're the same thing. It's just not a priority for him. I think that kind of looking at this, I think Javon Holland would be a really good option because he's more of a nickel safety. He's going to play a lot in the slot. He's going to be able to cover tight ends. He's going to be able to cover wide receivers. And then he can play a little bit of that deep half as well. So I would lean towards Javon Holland from Oregon as the next pick for the Vikings.
There we go.
So far we have addressed safety and a little bit of corner, I guess you could say, in Holland. And then we've also addressed the edge position with Gregory Rousseau. Eric, we did make the move from 14 to 27. We got a second, but it's for next year. Obviously, that's not the perfect scenario, but since we got a second next year, I really like kind of where that puts us.
Okay, we're back on the board. More safeties, interior D line, wide receivers, edge.
Mm-hmm. All right. There's one guy I want to talk about, and he is probably my favorite prospect in this draft. Dwayne Estridge, the wide receiver out of Western Michigan. Oh boy, Dave, this kid has the juice. He is incredible. So Western Michigan doesn't get a lot of hype, obviously, because they play in the MAC. PJ Fleck was coaching there, and they had that undefeated season, and Corey Davis went 5th overall to the Titans. I think Estridge is a better player. Yeah, he's got legit 4.35 speed. He made Bruce Feldman's freakless list. At 5'9", 190, he's benching 350 and squatting 505.
How tall is he?
5'9".
All right, we'll go with him.
He's a crisp route runner. He's incredibly explosive in the open field, and he can catch the ball in contested catch situations.
How about punt and kick return at that size?
Yes. He's going to be a very versatile piece. He's reading our guy Jordan Reed's scouting report, kind of comparing notes and seeing how other guys are viewing him too. He kind of had a great description of how his potential moving forward is going to be. He's a number 3 receiver that could be a developmental number 2 down the line. And yeah, he's somebody that you can utilize in the return game, which was incredibly awful for us. And now you have that number 3 wide receiver, and you can get creative at how you get him the football.
And he sounds like a guy that you could run sweeps and all sorts of wildcat type, weird stuff out of the backfield.
Absolutely. And I think you can utilize him similar to how the Chiefs utilize Tyreek Hill, those kind of creative ways to just get the ball in his hands. Now, he's not Tyreek Hill, and it's unfair to put that kind of expectation on any player. But the way you see the creativity, the way you see the Chiefs just trying to get him the ball in creative ways, I think you can do similar things with Estridge and be successful.
Good. Well, we got him. Now we're up. We got a trade. Buffalo wants to give us their 3rd rounder for our 5th and 4th. 4th next year. 5th this year, 4th next year.
So giving up picks in future years is not something that this team likes to do, nor is it something that I like to do, unless you're going up and getting that guy, like the quarterback. Right. So I'm going to say no.
Okay. We decline. All right. We're not back on the board yet. We get another trade offer. This one from the Chargers. They want to give us their 3rd and their 6th for our 4th. One of our 4ths.
Is there another pick included with that, Dave?
Let's see. Let's scroll down.
It feels like they're...
Yeah, 2 4ths. For a 3rd and a 6th. No.
I'm going to say no. Because the 2 players you're going to get in
those
the 4th
guys are value more.
Too similar to what you're going to get in round 3.
Yep. If it was just one of our 4ths, I would have said yes.
Oh, yeah.
And here we go. They want to give us their 109 4th to move up 9 spots for our 4th at 118 and one of our 7th round picks. That
238. That's currency wise. That's actually a pretty good deal, just because like picks that late in the draft, they're nice to have.
Yeah, but they're not worth a whole lot.
No, you don't need them.
And they really aren't expected to make the team half the time. And if they are, they're just practice squatters and maybe special teamers.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you can still hit gold. Vikings.
You can hit gold.
Odenabo, Weatherly. If you can get functional players. For how much crap we give Shamar Stephen, he was a 7th-round pick, and he's on his second contract. He's still playing in the NFL.
Yep.
That's a big win in round 7.
Yep.
So I want to keep the pick, and at the very least, you use those picks to get your priority free agents in the building without having to worry about it. It's a great dart to have. I'll keep it for the and then not give it up for 9 spots.
And our phone keeps ringing. All right. Panthers offering their 4th, their 5th for our 4th.
What else are we giving up?
And 2 fourths.
No.
Yeah.
Move up 6 spots to drop 20.
No.
I'm good.
And here we come.
All right.
Oh, I'd like to know how Hudson, what he looks like. 6'5", 310, 4-star high school ranking.
Mm-hmm. Now, just the little bit I've seen of Hudson, he's not the best mover. So I don't know how the Vikings are going to value a player like him. So I would kind of hold off. Is there anybody else above Shaka Toney that we're missing that we can scroll up and see on this big board?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's quite a few guys. All right. Okay. So Aleem Mcneil is a really explosive 3 technique out of North Carolina State. Jonathan Cooper is a really solid edge. Sage Surratt, probably not going to go wide receiver here, but he is the guy who opted out at Wake Forest. He's a really good football player. Mari Rogers. And then Tylan Wallace is a guy I fell in love with today. Devin, who's watching the show right now, and I were watching him earlier, and he's good. Deo, I'm gonna butcher it. Odiingbo, he tore his Achilles a couple days ago, so he's probably gonna go a little later than this. Nick really wants Jalen Twyman, and we've taken him before, and I think Twyman could be really good for this football team. There's honestly a lot of really good players right now that we can kind of look at. Dave, what's grabbing your eye right now?
Well, if you're telling me that this guy's a 3 technique, Mcneil, we need a 3 technique. Now, people are going to go batshit because we're going heavy on defense, but they also expect that coming into this season. So,
I don't even think we need to focus on going on defense or focus on going on offense. Let's just bring in really good football players. Aleem Mcneil we're gonna bring in a really good football player with him, and he's a high upside athlete. So I think Aleem Mcneil would be a really smart selection here for the Vikings.
Okay, done. We got another pick here coming up. And
so I'm going to kind of go a little off the wall here. I think we should think about doubling up on defensive line right now. So we brought in Rousseau. We brought in Mcneil. I think we should go edge or interior defensive line here, and just let's get more good bodies. Because as we saw this last season, I don't know if there's anybody other than DJ Wadham and maybe Odenigbo that played the back half of last year that should be rostered.
Well, on the line. Well, do you want Twyman? I don't know about.
I think Twyman would be a good addition. You can kind of utilize him a little. I think like John Randall. I think on passing downs, he could play a 5 technique. Okay. He's a very quick, explosive pass rusher. He's not going to be a true edge, but I think he can really provide some of that like pass rush kind of specialty as he continues to develop. And I think by throwing 2 darts at it with both Mcneil and Twyman, you're going to have a higher success rate, and you're going to create a lot of extra competition in camp to really just figure out who's going to be really good for this team moving forward and how can we continue to grow and make this defensive line somewhat close to what it was in 2017.
Okay. Nick's telling us Twyman works out with Aaron Donald.
Yep, I've seen a few people just kind of throw out the lazy Twyman Aaron Donald comp because they're similar size. They both went to Pittsburgh. Like Twyman's not Aaron Donald, but Twyman is a really good football player.
Okay. So that should be our pick.
Let's take him. Let's keep bulking up that defensive line, Dave. I know that getting the big uglies makes you a happy man.
Oh, it does. All right, here we go. We got edge, safety, edge, running back, wide receiver. What else do we have? We've got a tackle, Brady Christensen.
Mm-hmm. And we took Brady Christensen a couple of weeks ago, too.
Yes, we did. 6'6", 300 pounds.
Mm-hmm. And see it kind of right there says the full tale of the tape with Christensen. He's probably going to be best in a power scheme. He's not the greatest athlete.
Right.
And
we don't play a power scheme.
I think at this point, it doesn't really matter that much if you're taking a really good football player. But I also think that there are other guys that we can prioritize here. Caden Stearns is a guy from safety out of Texas that we talked about. He had a really, really good freshman year and looked like he was a potential first rounder, and then just had struggles. But that whole Texas team just
had struggles.
Yeah. Ever since Colt McCoy hurt his shoulder in that 2009 national title game, it's just kind of been a rough decade for the University of Texas.
Loose moving, coverage versatile. We like that. 6 feet, 210. It's not bad for a rookie size safety.
No. And like it says there, developmental, versatile safety. I think that you can kind of keep him on the back burner and rotate him in. And if you move on from Harrison Smith, all of a sudden you got Javon Holland and Caden Stearns as your two safeties moving forward. And I think that's something the Vikings can live with and be successful with. So I think he would be a good option. You could go edge again and just continue to reload that defensive line. But something we talked about in the group chat earlier, you don't want to rely on these guys to be pieces year one for like a potential playoff and Super Bowl run. You don't want fourth rounders to have to play that big of a role. But with the way this Vikings team is set up, 2022 is pretty much looking like a year where we can start to really make that run. So we could consider edge here too. What's Dave thinking?
Dave's wishing there was a lot more offensive linemen on the board. Because we're going to have to address that. I'd rather address it sooner than later.
David Moore, the guard out of Grambling, I am really excited to kind of see what he can do. I haven't been able to get any All-22 from Grambling yet, but
okay.
I am Senior Bowl credentialed, and I'm really excited to kind of watch some of his film throughout the week at practice. And like, there are a lot of people talking very highly about David Moore, and I'm excited to kind of see what he brings to the table.
He wants to be so aggressive that he's left lunging and whiffing.
And
that
that's something
familiar.
That's something you can teach, though. It's just having that awareness and knowing where guys are.
Yeah, but we heard a lot of that from Drew Samia.
Drew Samia.
That's where I want to go.
You know what? I'm okay with it. Let's go David Moore. Good developmental prospect, guard out of Grambling.
Yep.
And guards don't matter, but it's round 4, so it's okay.
It's round 4. It's at the point where you can get a good one. All right, we're back to most of the same people.
All right, so pick 134. So there's two ways you can go about this. Rashad Weaver, edge out of Pittsburgh. Shaka Toney, edge out of Penn State. Shaka Toney is not a guy that you're drafting to stop the run. And I think that's why the Vikings might not have him on their board. But my goodness, is he a high upside athlete that can rush the passer? And I think that is something that will really intrigue how the Vikings view prospects.
Why can't he?
Rashad Weaver.
Why isn't he good against the run?
He just doesn't play the run well. He hasn't shown the ability to do that. But at the same time, a lot of what his skill set, what he was asked to do at Penn State, was just pin his ears back and rush the passer. So how much of it is that he can't do it? How much of it is that he wasn't asked to do it?
And how much of it is lack of coaching?
That could be too. There's a lot of factors that we just don't know, and I'm excited to really delve into his tape, which I'm going to try and get to within the next couple of weeks, and figure out, hey, is this a guy who just wasn't asked to do it, or is he just really bad at it? And
see, defensive end is one of the spots I used to play, and coach and stuff. If you can get to the quarterback, right? That's your primary responsibility as a defensive end, is get to the quarterback. If you don't get to the quarterback, you're setting the edge. If you're not setting edge, once you set the edge, once you read what's going on, then you can shed your blocker and make a tackle. And in that three orders, because you're always responsible for that quarterback, period. I don't care what he's doing. If he's handing off, you're still responsible for him until that running back comes at you. Because you need to get into his head as a defensive edge person.
Yeah.
Now, if he's good at rushing, he generally means he's got speed and he's got enough leverage and angles that he could use to get past a blocker. Teaching him how to use that and use hands and stuff to get guys moving out of his way can be done. I'd rather start with a guy that can rush like that rather than a guy that just plays the run, who's usually big and stuck in the mud, but then can shove his guy away and make a tackle. I want the because those guys are hard to teach the speed and the stuff necessary to get back to the quarterback. I'll take that rusher over the perfect run guy against the run guy, and then try to teach him.
I 100% agree. I think Rashad Weaver could be a really good player as well, because when I was watching Jalen Twyman, he and his teammate Patrick Jones kept flashing over the edge. But Shaka Toney is that elite athlete. I'd say we go with Shaka Toney and just continue to get high upside guys on that defensive line.
Sounds good. Boom. Yeah, we got one more pick.
All right. Here, let's. So our players so far, we have two edges, two interior defensive linemen. We have a safety, a wide receiver, and a guard. So we have done a very good job of filling a lot of needs and getting really talented football players for the Minnesota Vikings. And I'm pretty proud of that. So looking at the top of the board, Javian Hawkins is not a fit for what the Vikings want to do. There's a lot of receivers, and this is another incredibly rich wide receiver draft class. So if you don't go Estridge in round 3 like we did, you're going to be able to continue to get guys in round 4. Shi Smith in a normal draft should be a round 2, round 3 player. There's just a glut of talent this year. Anthony Schwartz could break the 40 record if there was a combine. He's incredibly fast. Yeah.
May the Schwartz be with you. How 6 foot, so he's not super tiny. He is weight-wise, but terms agility, speed, and toughness.
No, he's incredibly fast, and because of that, it makes him really, really dynamic. But with drafting Estridge, I don't think they're going to kind of double dip in that way. We're not the Kansas City Chiefs. I would love for us to play like the Kansas City Chiefs and just eat the ball everywhere, but that's just not what this team is.
Who knows? Maybe our new OC will do that.
Oh, that'd be fun, man. That would be fun. All right, let's continue to look at this board.
I've scrolled down. Christensen is the first offensive linemen. We got safeties, wide
Oh,
receivers, running back. What?
my son, Kylan Hill. I love him, but it just doesn't make sense.
More safeties.
There's more safeties on the board.
Is everybody coming out?
Here we go. We've got a couple interior offensive linemen.
Right there, Trey Hill and Scenarius Hutcherson.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I haven't really delved into either of those guys yet. This is kind of where some of my knowledge is kind of dwindling a tad, as I haven't been able to keep up working the 50-hour week. So
okay,
I know
he plays for Georgia. Georgia's got a great running game. So
yes, Georgia's offensive line is very good. They do run a little bit more power than zone, as kind of a general rule of thumb. And it kind of says so right there, like his lack of good athleticism. Power. Yeah. But at this point, if you just want to get a quality guard in there, Georgia and Iowa, Wisconsin, those three schools are going to give you good offensive linemen. So you're really not going to go wrong. And you're not expecting him to be Quentin Nelson if you're taking him at the end of round 4.
Right. 6'4", 320.
And just right off the bat there with Marino saying raw power is obvious. So this is going to be more of a power guy, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not what this team really excels with.
Gets top heavy, overextending, doesn't bend at the waist. No, I'd go with the Georgia guy first.
Let's go with the Georgia guy. Let's get another interior offensive lineman to continue to battle and try and work his way up.
Yeah, going with this dude. Okay. It gives us depth. If I hit the right button, we might get this done. Gives us depth, if anything, and we know we need offensive line depth. However, next year, that probably means nobody on the offensive line gets hurt. And well, no, that happened this year. So we probably need more offensive line depth for next year because it's their turn.
Oh, yeah. We absolutely need more offensive line depth. So let's hit the user picks. Let's kind of go over what we did. And I really like this draft. It's odd because we went so heavy on the defensive line. But anybody who watched Vikings football knew the defensive line was an abomination.
It was
just awful. Oh, it was worse than awful. And now you've got 2 edges, 2-3 techniques, guys who are just going to go out there and win in pass rush. And you were talking about and how you teach guys, it's harder to teach pass rush than it is to teach run defense. We have a guy who should have been first team All-Pro middle linebacker in Eric Kendricks playing there. Anthony Barr's coming back. I know a lot of people don't like Anthony Barr, but he does a lot of things for that defense that you can't replace easily. So I love this draft. This is a very fun, different look at kind of how the Vikings can approach things. And 5 fourth-round picks, just you get a lot of really talented players in the building that are high upside athletes. I think we hit it out of the park, Dave. I really do.
Super Bowl. Guys just said we did phenomenal. Hey,
I appreciate that, Nick.
It's I agree. This is a good one. Well, we'll see next Monday how it turns out. I'll make sure I get a snap pick of this results, and we'll go from there. Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
And then we'll promote this, send it all over the interwebs, and be talking about it hopefully for days. Hey, we want to thank everybody that joined us. Nick, Vikings Jerome, Eric, Devin, everybody else that joined us tonight. Thank you, Clifford, for a great time. Even Anthony, our Packers troll. Gotta have it.
Absolutely.
So, last words there, Tyler?
Just continue following us at Climbing the Pocket, at Climb_the Pocket on Twitter. I'm going to be releasing scouting reports. I'm shooting for one a day. I'm writing up tonight Tylan Wallace and Rashad Bateman. And you'll be seeing those over the next 48 hours. I'm going to try and get the receivers for the most part finish off this week so I can really dive head into another position group. I'm thinking I'm going to go D-line next because I've already gotten Rousseau, Ojulari, and Jalen Twyman written up. So we're just going to continue to attack these positions that the Vikings need first and foremost. And then I'm going to get at the back end, get into the fun positions like the quarterbacks.
Okay. Not that we're going to select a quarterback, but who knows? Everybody, you have a good night. Stay safe, stay sound, stay healthy. And as always, Skol Vikings!
Skol!
Thank you for watching or listening. As always, if you like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. And if you're listening to the podcast, please rate us on your favorite aggregator. Skol, everybody.